heats. Now when it's soft and difficult, Mike, technically difficult, we often see some surprise fallers.
And I think that will be no different today. We will certainly see some tripping over of each other's skis as Pitin looks cheerful, happy and relaxed.
Just as she should be. Kiloinen, not quite so relaxed. Maja Dahlqvist, the number one in the sprint this year, as I mentioned, yet to get a win. This lady has. Kristin Støvre-Skistad trains alone, apart from the Norwegian team. So that's the lineup for the first heat. Skistad, Dahlqvist, Antasova, the best qualifiers, and then we got Kiloinen, Maja and Pitin, Christina Pitin of Italy, who qualified in 29th place. 15 seconds difference between herself and the winner of the qualifying, Jona Sundling, who goes in heat number 3. Skistad, you can bet your bottom dollar she'll go out fast and want to control the pace. Just needs to watch the poles as she comes out of the start. They get away cleanly, and she starts stealing just a little bit of a lead. I think Dahlqvist will have been told, tuck in behind, don't worry too much about the early pace. She is very powerful over that first 200 metres.
And Skistad makes it look so easy actually to gain something already on Dahlqvist. That's unusual, and leaving the other 4 athletes behind. So she's deceptively strong, deceptively fast.
And Mike, we've got qualifiers 3 and 5 in this heat. Then we go all the way down to 21. There's a 10-second gap. Why on earth are the 2 best qualifiers here taking it so easy? Surely this is the one heat that they can conserve energy in.
Well, that's exactly what I thought. As you say, bib 21, 25, 28, 29. There's some 10 seconds slower than the first 2 there. No need really to go maximum, and maybe that's why Dahlqvist is happily placed in second, just following, and then she changes track, and that's important. Coming up this next rise was a sharp left-hander, but very quickly after a minute they are beginning to get rid of the rest in this heat.
Yeah, I think Skistad, although she's leading, this does not look like full tilt for her, and that two-phase, the diagonal gate as it's called, looking very relaxed. Quite a short glide compared to Dahlqvist on the far side. Those two, technically, is there any difference? Not sure there is, to be honest, but it's very smooth.
That's the aspect today of going through these heats, is to be about as efficient as you possibly can do, and the first 2 go through by certainty to the semi-finals, and the fastest only two of the fastest losers will go through to the semi-finals.
Now we're expecting a time around the what do you think, 3:30 possibly for this first heat. Sometimes it's quicker than qualification, but I don't think it's been flat out so far. Skistad selects her lane. Dahlqvist goes on her right-hand side up the last bit of climb. 2:15 on the clock. They've got at least another minute's racing to go from this stage.
Skistad having a look over there to her right at Dahlqvist. Dahlqvist wanting the best line down this next, the fastest part of the course coming up.
Yeah, this leads to that left-hand horseshoe bend that there's been much talk about, everyone wanting to make sure they're in the right place. Skistad's been practicing her technical skiing. I think she felt in Les Rousses that was her only weakness. She was strong, she was fit, and there you just see how difficult it is going down. I think that was that Antasova going down? I think it was.
What a shame, that really has mucked up Antasova. I thought she'd stay with this pace, and it's probably going to be a good time. And now the cream of the pack, just pressing a little harder and with apparent ease getting away.
Yeah, Skistad has to be careful here. That's the summit. Now it's a gradual downhill into the finish. Dahlqvist has eased off. Only 3 going through. Skistad needs to be a little bit careful here. Being chased by Elina Meyer of Switzerland, who's closing the gap slowly, but it is closing. Pitin putting in a good burst just in case there's a slot for a lucky loser. Third, so important in these runs, but I think, very, very tight. I think Meyer just holding on that occasion, but no doubt about the two certain qualifiers, Dahlqvist and Skistad, 3:29, 7 seconds slower than the best of the qualifying times this morning.
Well, that was very
does it?
Yeah, that was very interesting. I mean, the pace Skistad set out very fast to state her claim on the race, and then it really backed off. It slowed down, and only out of the final bend, it picked up to max again. I thought that was a false start, but the gun didn't go.
So the two favourites safely through from Heat 1.
This fall was purely the weight back, and then she tried to, maybe it was the cluster, it's actually quite aggressive, and it was Antasova that went down.
Maya and Pittin in the lucky loser seat at the moment, 3:29. That might survive, to be honest, Mike, because only 9 people beat that time earlier on today. They are all likely to qualify in the top 2, so Maya and Pittin shouldn't give up hope quite yet. So we have 3 potential qualifiers, I feel, from this heat, with Ribon, Brennan and Feindrich. Mosic was 27th in qualifying. That was a margin of something like 15 seconds between her and Sundling, the winner of the heats. Rosie Brennan, she should be okay, I would have thought, in this situation.
I think so, I hope so. She was 4th at the Olympics, she said, a true fighter.
Emma Ribon, solid this season, won the first 2 events of the year, the classic sprint in Ruka. That is what she needs to be thinking about. Feindrich, who won 3 in a row, has been on tremendous form mid-season, missed the race in Les Russes, which was, or was it Livigno? I think she missed Livigno just to prepare herself for these championships. I thought she looked pretty good this morning, but Feindrich in 8th in qualifying. She was 6 seconds adrift of Sundling. So Ribon, Brennan, Feindrich. We've got Kahara for Finland, Victoria Karl of Germany, and Mostic of Poland. Victoria Karl, of course, a gold medalist from Beijing last year in the team sprint.
As expected, Ribon out of the first 200 metres in first place, so she can dictate the line down into this first fast right-hander. And the soft tracks make this a little easy. Your skis, you're not expecting them to drop into the snow so much, and now back into the firm, prepared tracks.
So 46 seconds on the clock going around the left-hander. We'll make a mark of that, not too obvious a split post, but we'll find another one at the top of the climb. Remember, just a little climb into a bit of descending, and then a sort of double step to get to the high point of the course, which starts pretty shortly.
I like the way that Kahara, the Finnish athlete Jasmine Kahara, she looks so easy, closest to us in 2nd place in this left-hand column. And now tightening up a little. You need to relax as you punch your way up this climb.
What's your impression on the pace? I think the fact there are 3 good skiers in there, making them ski just that little bit harder over the summit in 1:34.
That's quite a long climb, you know, when you look at the amount of work and effort that was put in there. So the 3 stronger skiers just pressing a little harder and managing to separate themselves. Rosie Brennan going the long way round, she has no choice.
There's still a fair way to go from here. Feindrich up there in 2nd place. Brennan just tracking the Swiss athlete at the moment, has to stay in touch. The fact that all 6 of them were within 10 metres of each other, I think an indication that the pace is not ballistic from the race leader, Emma Ribon, who's been setting the pace all the way through. A little stumble. That wasn't Rosie Brennan. If you're an American, she's still sitting in 3rd place, so you can relax. A similar looking suit.
Yes, that's Victoria Carl. That's a real shame. She looked good. I thought that was a good opportunity. She's from Oberstdorf. It didn't work for her when the World Championships came there 2 years ago, and it's bad luck again today.
So heading down towards the sharp left-hand horseshoe turn.
An important rebound there, taking the correct, in my opinion, the correct lane. That's the shortest journey to the finish line.
3:28, the fastest time so far from that first heat.
I think this is slightly faster than that early heat's lead time of 3:28.87. So that's good news.
They're going to be 4 or 5 seconds inside, and I think Rosie Brennan, even if she finishes in third, which is what's going to happen, is still quick enough to qualify. Look at that time, 3:23. They're 6 seconds inside the required time to get a lucky loser. So Brennan is safe for now. It's going to be Alina Meyer of Switzerland who is knocked out of the lucky loser pool, and Rosie Brennan is going in for the USA. I think that was always going to happen, Mike, when we saw 3 good skiers going in heat number 2.
Yes, and Brennan, she did struggle there, and there's the fall, Victoria Carl, and I think it was her own issue there, putting the ski pole between her legs, I think.
Yeah, I was wondering whether it was just a sort of the clister just gripping a little bit too aggressively, but you may be right.
And Rosie
was right.
Sometimes right. And Rosie Brennan there, she did everything that she needed, but it did take her to an uncomfortable pace for a lot of that particular race.
Yeah, and even Kahara has now got a lucky loser spot. 2 down, 3 to go in the first round of the Women's World Championship knockout sprint. And we see the lineup for heat number 3. Coletta is there from Poland, qualified in 30th. It's going to need a small miracle to go through. Nadine Laurent, good-looking ski in the qualifying, but again she's going to be a little bit pushed to make it through. Needs a time sub 3:24, which will be tough. Ridzek for Germany. We've got number 9, which is Tyrrell Ludnisveng, still the number 1 in the World Cup standings overall, and fired up for this race after a difficult second midsection to the season. We've still got the end of the season to come, of course, after the World Championships. And Jona Sundling, she's done it all before, been there, seen it, done it, won it, and is of course the Olympic and the world champion. 23, Coletta Ridzek of Germany. Hopefully she can do a little bit better than Victoria Carl, who took a tumble on that last heat. 1400 metres, top 2 to go through, and lucky losers, if they can beat the current, the slowest lucky loser time is 3:28.83. Away we go. Expect to see some dominant skiing. I think Jona Sundling will probably go out in front. She'll certainly be shown a lot of respect, Mike.
Oh, she will. I have to say, didn't she look so relaxed, as if it was just a Sunday afternoon ski with no stress? She looked so easy, so composed, I thought, on the start line.
Yeah, she looked like one of those kids at the airport sign-in with clothes hanging out of every bag and
so she wasn't overstressing about much, and there she is at the front. So now it really is up to her. What kind of pace is she going to set? So she really is by a huge margin the fastest in this lineup.
Well, they're already a second up on that second heat. We'll get another indication at the top of this next climb. Should be around 133, 134 as they go over the top of this climb. It's still fairly tightly banched. Tyrrell Ludnisveng, I think, is the athlete that's got to be careful here, hasn't she? Yasmi Yuensu qualified in 10th, only a fraction behind Veng. It was, what was it, 0.17 of a second, the difference between those two.
Yes, it's going to be tight. Sundling's definitely got more capacity to give. She's only at 85% of her maximum, I would say. It's a long section, this. We saw them come off the bend at the bottom at 1 minute dead, and this climb is about 40 seconds, 45 seconds. So this is the hardest single walk section, and it's quite a steep climb, actually. Full-on climb up to this. Another 10 seconds to go or so.
Out from the second bridge in 1:46. So having been a second up on the second heat, Mike, then now a second and a half down. Tyrrell Udnisfeng looks as though she's slightly under-gripped, having to go into the herringbone earlier, wider than the other athletes. Yensu, that's a disaster for her. Now, was there interference? I don't think so. I think, again, it was a case of misplaced poles. But Yensu, a potential qualifier, now in a very, very tough position. Sundling and Veng will not hang around to see how she is. They're going to take full advantage of that situation.
You mentioned interference. Well, Mara said in the previous heat she's been deemed to have got in the way of, it was, of course, Victoria Carl.
Victoria Carl, yeah.
Yes, and she's ranked as last because of that obstruction.
But it doesn't help Victoria Carl, which is the irony.
It is indeed. I think Yensu, she just fell herself, the tip of the ski catching in the soft snow. They need to back off now, don't they? They don't need to burn up any more energy. They're safely, at this pace, safely through to the semi.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're aware of what's going on. 3:03 was the time for the last heat up to the summit. So they have picked pace up on the way down, pretty much the same. We should be looking at a time of around 3:24, somewhere around there. Sundling's cruising over the last 100 metres. The two chasers are closing, and they're closing pretty quick, but they're running out of time. Another 50 metres to go. Sundling, the Olympic champion, the world champion, is going to be first across the line to secure her place in the semi-finals, and Tyrrell Udnisfeng has made it through to the last 12, which is what she failed to do in Toblach. Look at the difference in the body reaction. Yensu and Rydzek absolutely out for the count. Sundling and Veng as if they've done nothing.
Well, I'm so impressed with Yensu, and I really thought she crossed the line before Rydzek, which gives her a chance. After that fall, incredibly, she got back up there, but I think it is fourth position.
Well, Rydzek's still in 3:26, which is good enough. She's got, for now, a lucky loser spot. Well, that was Rydzek stepping out. Certainly obstructed the Italian, Nadine Laurent. This is the fall. Is there anything going on? No. Pole planted, that left pole planted inside the ski. Yeah, that's unlucky, but it's a pretty basic error, to be honest. And Mike, I wonder whether that's part of the result of the softer conditions.
I think it is. But look how incredibly she got back up, fighting for this vital third slot, and just half a foot away.
Yeah, needed to finish ahead of Coletta Rydzek, to be sure. So Yensu is out. Two heats still to go, and this one is every bit as good as the last. Svan, Kern, Jonatova, Anna Svensson of Norway. Let's start with Johanna Matintalu of Finland. Anna Svensson of Norway, 32-year-old from Tromsø, so a late bloomer, so to speak, in terms of the team. Jonatova comes from Liberec. Julia Kern of the USA made the knockouts in Seefeld 4 years ago. Up against Lynn Svan, it might be a tall order today. Lynn Svan, Mike, are we going to see some of her magic?
I think so. I think as each race this season has gone by, she's looked a little sharper. Of course, she's missed so much from when she led, 4 victories, and then she crashed out and damaged her shoulder. Missed all of last year's Olympic year.
Yeah, 9 wins in her career. So here we go, heat 4.
Go back, please.
Oh, interesting. Lynn Svan knocking that one open.
Take your start position.
Yeah, so Svan's poles on the inside of the timing wand. Away we go, second time of asking, and they are looking for a time sub 3:26. We'll get one lucky loser. 3:24.3 from Rosie Brennan. Looks safe to me.
This is interesting. Julia Kern, she's got great memories from this location. 2020, when the World Cup came here, she finished third. That was freestyle, but that positivity seems to be carrying her into her least favoured classic, but she's leading right now.
Yeah, didn't go quite so well in the World Championships last time in Oberstdorf. 36th position, didn't make it through the knockout, so she'll be delighted to be there today. Quite an impressive run from Kern earlier on this morning, and she sets the pace as we go round now. Lynn Svan back in third place. All the other Swedes, Mike, it seemed, were given the order, just take the lead and stick with it.
It seems like it. Lynn Svan is looking so relaxed, though. She's making a conscious decision, I think, to not get too excited up front and just ready to pounce when needing. And I think she's got the capacity, the power, the form to easily move, turn up another notch in terms of her pace.
Yeah, there's a little line just before the summit of this climb. They need to be there in 1:32, 12 seconds or so to get through there if they're going to match the pace that was set by heats 2 and 3.
The only thing with Lynn Svan, they're the fastest in this group. I think you increase your risk factor when you're further back in this pack. We've seen a couple of falls. We've seen Yasmin Yonsu trip over herself, and that could bring the athlete behind down as well. So Lynn Svan, I'm surprised she's still not trying to get up front.
Yeah, it's a good pace. It is a good pace. They're matching the best at the moment. Little slip there from right and left foots from Lynn Svan, but seems somehow to maintain the momentum. Number 15 just making ground is Anna Svensson. Martin Talu of Finland a little bit further back, struggling at the moment. Martin Pinter of Italy will be enjoying this occasion, but struggling with a pace set by Svan at the moment, who just starts to pull away from the competition.
Now that was interesting. She decided to go, and then with apparent ease she was there up the front. She's got 10 metres, and what a turn of pace that was.
Yeah, that's going to be a battle between herself and Jonas Sundling, and then of course throw Skistad into the mix. The women's final, if the big names all make it through the semis, is going to be the showdown of the year, without a doubt. So good to have all the Swedes back, the Dahlqvist, the Sundlings, the Svans, the Reboms, all looking in very good shape at the moment. And up into the stadium now. This, it doesn't look too much, Mike. There's no herringboning, but it's quite a stiff climb after 2.5 minutes of racing.
It is. I think what Lynn Svan has shown us there is a danger for anybody, for Sundling, for all Rebom, for all the big names. That was a great turn of pace, and now she can take it easy.
Yeah, this could be I think Svan is going to ease up, but she was way ahead of the fastest heat schedule as she came up and over the hill into the stadium. Rosie Brennan's having to do it the hard way, keep the gas on, and if you can avoid a sprint over the finish line, Mike, you save yourself a lactic build-up, which can only damage your chances in the next round. So a 3:25, very impressive when you consider how little Lynn Svan did down the closing stages. She has matched Jonas Sundling, who did a 3:25, Emma Rebom a 3:23, but that was a highly competitive group. And at the moment, Dahlqvist and Skistad, Mike, who went in heat 1, 3:28.8. They were cruising, and they get more rest than anyone else.
Yes, this pace was pretty tough. Julia Kern led all of that hard pace. In fact, she had to really fight to the line, so that's been a tough outing for Julia Kern, but she's safely through, and that was her mission.
She's through but tired.
Yeah.
Lynn Svan, on the other hand, is through and chilled.
Not out of breath. I mean, for me, she's so steely, so focused. I think she's a big threat today for this title.
Yeah, I think Sundling is going to have to go hell for leather to defend the title. So, one heat to go, and Lara Gimler is in there, Jess Diggins. I just think the fact that Diggins selected Group 5, Mike, shows a slight lack of confidence, which is very unusual for Diggins, but I can't see any other reason other than saying, okay, I have got to make the semis?
Yes, I mean, she's in a lot of good company there. There she is, the great Jessie Diggins. But, you know, that mindset, that positivity, maybe that will break through. That threatens anybody that she's lined up against.
Hagstrom, she was the athlete saying she was going to put a little bit more wax on. I don't know if that was a double bluff, just to unnerve all the other teams, thinking, yes, more wax, that's got to be the way. You want decent ski speed going down that last downhill that leads into the horseshoe turn, but coming up into the stadium, Mike, if you're slipping, you are not going to stay with the leaders, particularly when we get through to the semi-finals.
Oh, you need your grip today. I think Laura Gimler, this is a brilliant platform for this Heat 5. She's fourth fastest at the start of the day. She's the fastest in this lineup.
6 athletes, 6 nations. Germany with Gimler, Hagstrom of Sweden, Diggins of USA, the Czech Republic with Baranova. We've got Lotte Udnesveng of Norway and Eva Urbets of Slovakia. We've got wearing 19.
I thought that was interesting at the back from Baranova. She wasn't interested. She went out totally consciously, went out without pushing out fast. So she wanted to be last place coming down this first descent.
Urbets, of course, of Slovenia. Got my flags wrong, which is a bad mistake to make, particularly as she's at home. There won't be any more.
Good man. Lotte Udnesveng coming wide now, closest to the camera, but working hard.
So again, Sweden leading with Hagstrom, and so far, Mike, the plan has worked out. They've got a guaranteed 3. Well, they've guaranteed to have 3 in the first semi-final. Now, if Lynn Svan should happen to go through as a lucky loser, I suspect she would go into Group 1 as well. And Lynn Svan is already through to the second semi, so 4 out of 4. And the way things are looking at the moment, I think Hagstrom should be safe. But with Jess Diggins in this group and Baranova, I think this is the one group where it's difficult to predict the top 2.
I think it is, and well done, Jess Diggins. She's decided to put an injection of pace, and that really is stretching it out. And I think that's a sensible, get up front, try and dictate the pace the way you want it.
Yeah, it's a respectable time. They're within a second of the fastest heat so far. We've had a couple of 3:25. We had a 3:23 from Emma Riebon racing against Feindrich and Brennan. Over on the far side, Hagstrom's just stolen a march by taking the inside line. Diggins wide with her direction and wide with the herringbone as well. Be interesting to see how Diggins gets on the last climb. Up they come towards the summit. Remember, a long descent that leads to the horseshoe turn.
Lotte Udnesveng.
Hagstrom looking good.
She is, yeah. Lotte Udnes going very wide, far away. That track hasn't been skied on, so I would imagine it's a little slower, but she wanted to try and chop the others off, but it hasn't worked.
Yeah, well, she was in danger of, she crossed one track, then another.
Yep.
It looked as though she was going to go over another, in which case she would have obstructed Jess Diggins. Diggins is still okay, but she dropped from second back to fourth because of that move from Lotte Udnesveng. Till Udnesveng already safely through.
Baranova coming through, although she got her weight back there, she nearly fell backwards. Baranova coming back into it, she's leaving it quite late.
Yeah, we could have the 2 twins, the 2 Venn twins up against each other in the semi-final. It is a possibility. So here we go. We're into the last stage now. 3:25 predicted time at the moment. Depends what they do in the closing stages. Now Lotte Udnesveng is fading, Mike. That's bad news for the Norwegian team, who've been struggling a little bit. Diggins still holding strong in second place, but coming well for the Czech Republic is Baranova. She was closing, but suddenly Diggins finds something extra in the last 50 metres, as she always seems to do. And in fact, it's Gimler going through. I told you I wouldn't make another mistake. What happened to Diggins? Same suit, different colour. Diggins down at 3:30. That's extraordinary.
Yes,
so it is Lara Gimler who goes through. Hagstrom has made it, and Baranova just missing out. 0.3 of a second outside qualifying.
Oh, that was quite a frantic attack. There's Baranova just not interested, wanting to save as much energy as possible.
Yeah, we'll just we'll have a wait and see, because they've got to decide the lucky losers. Baranova does have a chance. It was a quick heat, winning time at 3:25 again, and Baranova, we've just had it confirmed, 3:25.94, which by my reckoning puts her into semi-final number 1. So she has got through thanks to that burst of speed trying to catch Gimler.
That was a clever race from Baranova. She really left it late, but brilliant. She's got through to the semi.
Yeah, that's good news. Sad news for Slovenia in that Eva Urovic has been knocked out. Jess Diggins has gone. That's why she's in heat 5. So the lineup for the women's semi-finals: 3 Swedes, 1 Norwegian, the Swiss and the Czechs in semi-final number 1. And if you manage to absorb all that information, you're very, very sharp. Svan, Hagström, Gimler, Weng, Kern and Brennan in semi-2. So 2 Swedes, 2 Americans, a Norwegian and Lara Gimler of Germany. So Tyrell Udnesveng is through, Lotte Udnesveng is out. But now we switch our attention to the men's race, and we go back to the same stage. 5 heats in the first round, and this is going to be an interesting one, Mike, purely because we want to see what Klæbo is going to do up against Erik Valnes, who was the quickest of the qualifiers.
It's going to be interesting, Patrick. They'll both be wanting, these 2 great athletes, they'll both be wanting to try and conserve some energy, but they have to, fight for the patch, because it's going to be a frantic 6 athletes in total, and those who are less well ranked, Ludic, one of them, Ludic Seller, they'll really be trying to set a firm pace early on.
So from the women's race, how many of the favourites sat back at the back of the group and then came forward later on?
Yes, not many.
A big fat 0.
Yeah.
No one risked it. The question is, will Klæbo do that?
Possibly.
So first heat of the men's.
First full start.
Yeah, that was a bad start though. There was lots of movement in the line. I don't know whether it was Klæbo who actually broke the wand. He was last away. Well, we get to see the replay of this.
And that's risky when you break free, because you don't get a second chance, so you're going to hold back all the way through to the finals.
Who's guilty?
I think it was Seller.
On the near side?
I think it was, I think it was Seller.
I think Ludic Seller just next door to Klæbo, and I think his movement got the Olympic and world champion a little bit twitchy. I don't think we'll see the same mistake again. So wands just need replacing.
We normally see the big yellow marker or card.
We'll try again.
No more start, we continue.
So we're underway. Let's just go through the lineup again. For Sweden in the white, that's Edvin Anger wearing bib number 18. Next door to him, we've got Erik Valnes, and then Johannes Huskvarna Klæbo of Norway, with Valnes leading at the moment. Ludic Seller of the Czech Republic, again in the red suit. He's sitting in second place, or alongside Anger at the moment. And then Ahonen of Finland, just on the right-hand side of your picture at the back. And we've got Graham Ritchie of Canada.
Yes, Graham Ritchie, bib 28 there at the back. He didn't want to get involved too early on. We saw him holding back a little, and I think he's playing a safe game at the moment. There's a lot of risk today with these soft conditions. We've seen that already in the women's. 5 heats, how many? 3-4 falls in all. And you have to be careful. You have to be aware of what's happening around you.
Well, this pace is fairly conservative at the moment. Up they come to the climb. We'll get a split as they go through the little pine needles. 1:13 on the clock, and we'll compare that to the rest of the heat still to come. No panic from Clebo. The three favourites are up there. Edwin Anger, Mike, 18th in qualifying. I am pretty sure that he was just cruising. I think he could have done that with one of his arms.
It seemed that way, didn't it? And he's been brave here. He's not intimidated at all with Valnes and Clebo alongside him. And this is
Red slip from Clebo. Valnes on the inside. Anger goes down, and he's taken Ludek with him. He's got in the way of Graham Ritchie, and that is Anger's chance gone. That is always the danger, being on the inside of the turn, Mike. You get squashed down. Now there will be a look. He's got himself a spare pole, but it's too late. Anger is out. God, how disappointing is that for a man who has shown such good form all the way through the season. Sixth in the World Cup standings, and his World Championships comes to an end in the very first round of the sprint.
But it's like a Christmas present here, a late one, for these two at the front. When they realise there's nobody around them, they can back off their pace and recover for the semi-final. I thought Seller was really, Ludek Seller, he was brought down as well when Anger went down, and that's a real shame. I thought he looked great today.
Yeah, and it's given an easy ticket to Clebo and Valnes, who are probably discussing what they're going to have for dinner as they come down.
Yes, what should we do later?
Very easy. And one of the advantages of the big championships, Mike, is there are screens everywhere. They'll keep looking over the shoulder just to make sure. And
come on.
This is going to be close. Well, there's a man who knows how to cut it fine. Had Clebo lost out on that occasion, he would never, ever have been forgiven in Norway. Look how close it is. He drifts it down to 0.1 of a second. Arnen, if he'd just been that little bit quieter and maybe drifted over to the other side, so he wasn't seen when Clebo looked over his right shoulder, then it could have been a different story. But you know, that's not the sort of behaviour that the coach enjoys. Let's see where it went wrong for Anger. Well, he was actually on the outside of the turn, and that left ski just slipped, Mike, through the soft stuff onto the salted snow underneath, and he slipped on the ice. Not his fault, no one's fault.
He did, but in the process, he released Seller's binding, and yes, you're disappointed, but think how Seller must feel as well, being brought down by somebody else.
Yeah, well, you should never be on the outside of someone who's about 6'6". There's always a chance that a limb will get in the way.
And
so, Norway survived. Valnes and Clebo are through. 2:59.3 is the winning time. Nowhere near as fast as we saw in qualification. Arnen, I suppose lucky loser slot is possible, but unlikely.
Do you know, Patrick, these moments come around so rarely. Anger will be so disappointed. I thought today he could make it to the final, but he won't get another chance of a sprint at the World Champs until another 2 years' time.
Yeah, but he's young enough to do another 5 World Championships, so that's the good side of that story. Let's look at the lineup for heat number 2. Janos Brugger goes for Germany. 26 is Luknitz for Austria, and then we've got Richard Juve further down the line. Evan Nortug now, one of the quickest starters. He did say he was exhausted before the qualification even started this morning. I think a sleepless night, wondering what might be. Kalle Halvarsson, nothing but grumbles since his qualification. He is not happy with the condition of the course. He's got to live with it, learn to love it. Federico Pellegrino, all he said is it's the same for everyone, and I hope we see him go through to the semi-finals. And then Richard Juve, the winner of the last sprint in the classic technique. Can he make it 2 out of 2 and surprise the world by beating Clebo? It's not going to be easy. Juve is a big, heavy man as well. So we're underway, and Heat 2 looking for a time of somewhere in the region of 1:12, 1:13 at the top of the first climb.
the big white suit of Kalle Halvarsson. He's in 5th place at the moment. Also interesting when he finished his qualifying, I thought it was fantastic. He showed great form, finished 5th. He also said he was very tired. I don't know whether he was more tired than normal, but I really hope he can find his magic and qualify through to the semi.
Yeah, if he doesn't win today, Mike, how impressed have you been with the rest of his racing this year?
Yes, he's much improved. He's been a much better athlete. He's got some of his early magic. I mean, he's been around World Cup racing, 11, 12 years. He's got a lot of his magic back, and I think he can medal here a number of times.
Halvarsson down in 20th in the Sprint World Cup standings. Evan Northug, on the other hand, is 7th, and Northug has had 2 podiums, but all his good results came in the first half of the season, and he's been drifting slightly off the pace, not getting through on a couple of occasions, not getting through to the semi-finals, let alone the final.
Yeah, interesting, and Northug has put a lot of effort in now for half the race, a minute 22 on the clock, just under half the race, and I think he's put out too much too soon, and I think he'll struggle now to the line.
Interesting. 122. That puts them a long way down on the pace set by the first heat. But we'll confirm that when they go round the horseshoe bend. Need to be there in around 223, 224. Juve getting tied up, and that certainly obstructed Sweden's Kalle Halvarsson, who won't be happy with that. Federico Pellegrino capitalises. Evan Northug out of the way, out of trouble, and at the moment just cruising into a good position, heading down. And this is all these mistakes, Mike. We never ever see this. It's all due to the soft snow.
It is, and that's interesting. Well done, Evan Northug. He really lifted the pace again to make sure he had a clear vision down this descent. I was also very impressed with Halvarsson in 2nd place, who just pressed his turbos and it all worked. Pellegrino's still in this race.
Yeah, they're about a second down on the last heat as they come up into the stadium. So Halvarsson in a good position at the moment. Northug with that short, choppy style of his.
Juve has a lot of work now, Patrick. If he wants to get through to the semi, he really needs to pump it up, and this is his strength, the double pulling.
Well, he's got 60 metres to do something magical, and it is not happened. It is not going to happen. The first big disappointment for the French, unless they're quick enough. The lucky losers, 2:59 and 3:04, the lucky loser times at the moment. And Juve is in there for now, but I think that is temporary. Pellegrino is definitely out. Merkenich is definitely out. Big surprises so far in the heat, with only 2 heats gone. We've had enough drama for 4.
We certainly have. Juve, what did he? He just didn't seem to be at the races at all. He made that one mistake where he fell down onto his left hand. I think this is where
he got into trouble. Yeah, again, soft snow, and actually, Mike, it's exactly the same problem as we saw in the last heat with Edvin Anger placing the ski out wide in the herringbone. It goes through the soft snow onto the ice underneath, and there's nothing you can do. You have to remember it's only a Petex edge to these skis. There's no metal edge to grip the ice. You go down so fast, especially when you've got the power in the legs that Juve has.
Oh, well, he might still make it with that time.
Well, heat number 3 has got enough people in there to prevent him. I have a horrible feeling, Mike, it's going to be Shanova that knocks Juve out of the World Championships.
Maybe this is a good lineup. Bib 3, 6, 8 and 12. It's going to be spicy.
Marco Kilp, the slowest of the qualifiers. What can he do? Hang on in there, I think, is the best advice for him. Just see what will be. Camel Berry goes for Poland. Then we've got Ben Ogden, such an exciting racer. I love watching him ski. It's slightly unorthodox, but you can see the effort that goes in. I think he's learnt from Jess Diggins. Paul Goldberg, one of the top 2 in the World Cup standings. He's been a sensation so far this year. Goldberg, in terms of podiums, only 2 2 podiums in the sprints this season. Shanava hasn't had a World Cup win since 2020. Today would be the day to get himself the biggest win of his career. And Simone Mocellini for Italy, somewhat understated, sort of flies under the radar a bit with all the press interested in Pellegrino. But Mocellini is a talent. Keep an eye on him in the Azzurri blue on the near side. And heat number 3 is underway. Ogden for USA, Goldberg for Norway, Shanava for France, Mocellini for Italy, and then Berry and Kilp of Poland and Estonia. I think they may struggle a little bit, but Goldberg might potential winner, or do you think he's just not quite got the fireworks to beat someone like Clevo?
I think he is a real contender. You know, it comes to on this track, on this day, the difficult track. I think Goldberg has a chance to certainly contend and press Clevo to the line. And Goldberg at the back. So interestingly, he's trying to go the economical way, and I think already only 2 will qualify through to the next round. It's so slow.
Shanava out front, Mocellini in 2, Ben Ogden using up bagfuls of energy, just fighting for positions. I know he skis with a slightly higher tempo, but it's a messy, panicky start from Ben Ogden. I want to see him relax, save the fireworks for the last 400 metres if they're needed.
So this is a long climb. It's still quite a slow pace, Patrick. It hasn't gone ballistic yet, and probably Paul Goldberg in 3rd place. He'll probably lift that pace as we climb to the top of this hill.
Yeah, they're still, Mike, 6 seconds quicker than heat number 2 through that stage.
Oh well, it's deceptive then. It is travelling quite fast. Shanava so powerful in the middle there, bib 8.
Yeah, heat 2 was very slow initially, and then the speed picked up. Heat number 1, 1:13 through that same marker, so they didn't hang around initially. Number 3 is Paul Goldberg leading the way, as you would have expected. Shanava tucked in behind him. Mocellini of Italy, 3rd over the top of the hill. Ben Ogden still tied up. That's the corner that's caused so many problems so far, with slightly loose snow on the surface. I hope they're treating that area as the race goes on. Just make sure that the ice doesn't get too exposed. Wow. And there's a massive burst, an unbelievable burst coming in from Camelberry. Oh my goodness, wow. That's spectacular. But Goldberg just doesn't take the bait, Mike. He's going to let him go.
Well, I think that turn of pace, bib 27, he is Camelberry. He's going to pay for that, and the lactic will be brewing up in his blood right now. I hope he can hold that pace or give another one of those turns of pace.
Yeah, they're still, by my reckoning, a couple of seconds down on heat number 1, but the pace is still high. Berry's still hanging in there, but he's gone from 1st to 2nd. Shanava threading to push him down into 3rd. Mocellini losing his technique. Ben Ogden paying the price for using so much energy, fighting for position early on. That's the end of the American, I'm afraid. He won't qualify for the semi-finals. Goldberg is safe at the moment. Shanava coming up on the Norwegian shoulder. He's going to make it. It's all about lucky losers times. Anything under 3:01 will get in as a lucky loser. They're going to miss that by fractions. So Shanava and Goldberg go through. Berry and Mocellini and Kilp and Ogden are all out. It's a cruel, cruel sport. Only the best survive.
What a shame. Camelberry, he tried. He really did try, but unfortunately, because of it, it's the slowest heat so far. He's not going to make it. I was hoping Ben Ogden would get through this one, but Ogden in 6th place, 4:21 behind.
Well, there was the drive from number 27. Camelberry, just you only get one sprint like that, don't you, Mike? And he was always going to have to work hard in the closing stages. Well, let's have a chat with Jesse Diggins of USA.
Jesse, the sprint run stopped in the quarterfinals, but yeah, how was it?
Yeah, I was honestly very proud of how I skied. These are tough conditions for me, and I was really proud of my striding. Not so great at the running on the steep slush, but I did what I could, and yeah, made some tactical mistakes, got a little pinched on the upper corner, but that's sprint racing, and I was actually just really proud of doing my best.
always positive, even on a bad day. Deep down, she is hurting because Jess Diggins had every right to think that she possibly could come through and take a medal. I think freestyle maybe a little bit better, but you know, the 10K, Mike, that could be Jess Diggins' day. She'll be great in the skiathlon, which is the first long distance event for the skiers, and the women doing that in 2 days' time. So this is heat 4. Chapaz is there, number 17, Francesco De Fabiani. The Italians, Mike, are suffering. Mocciolini has gone. Pellegrino has gone. Can De Fabiani do something?
I think he looked good earlier. I think he looked that he was holding back a little. He nearly broke free too early.
Well, of all the heats, I think this is probably the easiest one to go through. Michael Novak of the Czech Republic was the fastest qualifier. He's wearing bib number 4 in the middle of your screen at the moment. 24 is Marcus Grata of Sweden. Simic of Slovenia wearing 21. The fans here were delighted to see him go through. And Italy's De Fabiani, pretty easy to pick out right at the back at the moment, but no panic. So Goldberg, Mike, the only athlete so far confident enough to sit back and then make his move late on in the run.
Yes, I thought he was very calm. Even when he came through, I thought he was very much Mussolini there, getting a violation. I thought he was skating a little far around the bend. That was from the previous heat. Yes, it's difficult to come through, and I think you increase the risk by, you know, applying Paul Goldberg's tactics, just hanging back. I think Taugboll is trying to keep a firm pace. He's in 5th place, the Norwegian now, but he'll probably do the same as Goldberg and slowly whittle the field down, up his pace, and get through the pack. Taugboll is no impression at the moment. The pace is very firm up this climb. And now comes the very soft snow. This is a difficult section. We've seen many of the falls today have come on this section of the track.
Thumping stride from Michael Novak over the top of the climb. That's the difficult corner, and you can see that's exactly where Jess Diggins got pinched, as she called it. And I wonder where the best place is to be. Wide is, because it's such a tight corner, Mike, wide is a long way round compared to the inside. But if you're on the inside, there's every chance you're going to get obstructed. And going down, that's desperately sad.
That's what happens when you sit further back. You just apply more risk all around you, and that's unfortunate for Taugboll.
Yeah, very unlucky for the Norwegian. Novak has got away cleanly. He's been followed, not swallowed, by Marcus Grata in 2nd place at the moment, and Taugboll is given up to the chase. Number 7, of course, is Jules Chapaz of France. He's still in this one, and Italy's De Fabiani has a chance as they come up and into the stadium. Remember, it's looking for a time sub 3:01 to go through as a lucky loser. Neil Arhanen on 2:59.8 is a lucky loser as well. That's well within reach as they come into the finish, and Chapaz of France may just make it. He's got 2 seconds now, just outside, but he doesn't need it because Chapaz goes from 3rd to 1st over the last 15 metres and takes Sweden's Marcus Grata by surprise. But Grata now has a lucky loser spot. De Fabiani, oh, so sad, misses out by fractions. He beat the 2nd lucky loser time, but he needed to be ahead of Marcus Grata. Number 21, that's Miha Simic just applauding the crowd. I don't think we're going to get the same from Norway's Taugboll, who, he's a bull of a man, and he will not be happy with that. Let's have a look and see exactly what was going on in that heat. So how many fallers is that, Mike? That's almost, we're averaging 1 a heat.
Yes, we are. A Taugboll, he got a good kick in the back there, or knee in the back, which was unfortunate. So I didn't see what caused it.
Insult to injury. Insult to injury. We expect that in the Six Nations, not in the World Championships. Well, what a great effort from Chapaz, who takes the win. Wow, fantastic run. Marcus Berardi caught napping.
First of all, of course, a tough quarter-final heat here. How was this race for you?
Yeah, it was really hard. I expect that this group will not be so fast, but in the end was the fastest, I think. So yeah, actually it is great atmosphere on my home ground. So I'm really motivated.
Yeah, Urvet's finishing in 6th position in the 5th heat. Hextrom, Gimler, Baranova all toasting it, 3:25.3. Wasn't actually the quickest, but it was the 2nd fastest heat. As we see the lineup for the last of the men's quarterfinals, as they call it, the first round, as many call it. Ondrej Černý for the Czech Republic. He's got a lot of fans here. They haven't had to travel too far. Tall man, not sure the soft conditions are going to suit him. Moilanen of Finland is there, and this certainly might be easiest heat, on paper the easiest heat to qualify, and would it be irony if Renauget goes through as well as Chapaz with Richard Jouve, who's been the best and the most popular of the French sprinters, already out.
It's incredible, isn't it? You wouldn't have expected that. So many surprises today.
So away we go. 2 men, or possibly 3, looking to join the leaders at the moment. Halverson, Shadowback, Clavo, Northwick in semi-final number 1. Wow, that is going to be a hot heat. And then semi-final 2 at the moment has Chapaz, Goldberg and Novak. Is Taut Bol the biggest casualty so far from the first round, or Pellegrino?
I think, yeah, those two, but I also think, yeah, Jouve, what a shame, going down so early. That's for the big Černý. That's a tough journey now to get back into this race.
Yeah, Moilanen setting the pace at the moment. Anger's a big surprise. Jouve is a big surprise. Taut Bol a big surprise. And who knows, we might have someone else tumbling out of this one. The tight uphill corners proving really problematic. I think most teams identified that early on, Mike, and they were all slightly puzzled as to how to negotiate them.
Yes, and now everybody knows the huge amount of risk on this track, given the conditions and given the fatigue in your legs, especially coming to the very top section of this long climb. When the legs are spent and the snow is soft, that's where we're seeing the issues.
1:16, so they're on the same schedule as we saw heat number 3. Heat number 3 finished in 3:01, which is not quick enough. They actually cruised down the finishing line. Not quick enough to qualify as a lucky loser at the moment. They need a 2:59, so someone is going to have to do some pace setting here if that's going to change. But it doesn't look to me as though anyone's prepared to do it. And again, we have a tie-up. This time, it's the Finns involved.
I was just going to say, yeah, Moilanen in his first World Championships, he'd led it until that. I didn't even see what caused that come off the track situation.
Yeah, and the French this time are the ones that benefit. Renauget is clear, and this Schumacher, he might get himself. They have got to go 100% from here. They do not want the others to get back in contact, and they've still got just over a minute's racing to go.
And Černý, who I had in my mind, one of my favourite two to get through, he's still in the back from losing so much pace on that first fall.
Well, you can just imagine the action in the jury room at the moment, Mike. They've been very busy trying to work out whether the crash is an individual's mistake or whether there was some sort of obstruction. But this is really a consequence of the soft conditions, and I think all the athletes have been concerned about this.
They certainly have. Schoenmaker, he still has to hold on tight because he's got a Hagstrom really seeing an opportunity.
So suddenly, from the French being all down and out, they've got 3 through to the semi-finals. And I don't think Renauget, who qualified in 20th, was thinking this was possibly going to happen. Well done to him. Took full advantage of the situation, which was nothing to do with him. Schumacher goes in at 2. Hegström is out. Joni Mäki is out, as is Moilanen. The 2 Finns, very, very unfortunate. Moilanen getting tied up halfway round. And when you race so tight behind, if someone in front of you might makes a mistake, you're going down. And I'm just wondering whether we're going to see the favourites all gunning for the lead, where you're a little bit safer.
Do you know, I do think we will, Patrick. Klæbo will have been informed and possibly watching. This was the first fast fall, and taking, I think I'm right, Czerny there on the inside. Just his own fault. He didn't get an edge.
Yeah, he was on a dangerous spot of the course, committed to that inside ski which hit the ice, and that actually, with Moilanen getting aggressive with Hagström, but Hagström skied over his ski tip. Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see whether there's any comeback for that. I don't think it matters because Hagström hasn't qualified anyway.
Well, so many situations. So yes, I think that Klæbo, watching this, I think the safe option, the only safe option, is to go out front and make your own path, and then you can only then blame yourself or not allow any other outside situations to slow you down or bring you down.
So Marcus Grate and Vilahinen, the 2 lucky losers. So there's the lineup for the semi-finals. Valnes, Klæbo, Halvarsson. I don't think I'd like to be in that one. That is going to be quick. Shanava is also in that first semi. Evan Nortug is there. Vilahinen could be somewhat outclassed. And then the second semi-final of the men, Chapaz, Goldberg, Novak, Jay, Schumacher, Grate. That, to be honest, Mike, is like a first round lineup.
It is. It's quite amazing.
Well, we move on and we switch from the men back to the women, and semi-final number 1, which is absolutely loaded. From qualifying, we have Bibbs 1, 2, 3, 5, and then Feindrich 8, with Baranova of the Czech Republic wearing 16. Number 2 is Emma Ribom alongside Jonas Sundling, the defending champion. So the women's first semi-final, 3 Swedes, 1 Norwegian, 1 Swiss athlete and 1 Czech. There's no way the Swedes can avoid themselves at this stage of the competition, Mike, but will they have discussed tactics?
I wonder, but I think they'll be fully aware that Christine Skistad will be out and challenging for that front pace. They'll all want that front pace.
Well, the Swedish have insisted they know how to deal with Skistad, which is to let her go in the early stages and then just out-ski her in the closing stages. So, so far, true to form.
Yes, a commanding figure at the front there, and that is a very, very fast, very dynamic start. So powerful, Skistad at the front.
Yeah, the question is, will she steady up? Will she sort of hold back later on?
There'll be a lot of nerves in this pack, especially the 3 Swedish athletes, because they're fast. They know any one of them could win. Well, Sundling probably the most likely, but you just have to be careful on this track.
Yeah, I've just seen a comment from Taugvold, who got knocked out in the last round of the men's. Is somewhat sarcastically said to one of the reporters, don't worry about it, only another 2,000 hours of training before the next World Championships.
Oh, it's such a big occasion to make a mistake on this track. Yeah, having focused for this moment for years, for a lifetime almost, it's serious stuff.
Yeah, things going to plan, according to Stefan Thompson, who is the Swedish sprint coach, who said just wait and wait and wait, bide your time. Through the little pine cones at 1:24. That's not a bad pace being set by the first of the women's semi-finals.
It's not a firm pace, it's a strong pace, a deceptive pace almost, and it's like a little chess game, isn't it? Who's going to try and break away first? numbers 1, 2, 5, 3, 8 and 16. This is, you could say this is almost like a final.
This little herringbone so important to give you position for the long downhill. She's sat in absolutely the right place, avoiding any trouble. Nice clean lines from her, but she's got not one, not two, but three Swedes all waiting to hit the accelerator button as they come into the closing stages. Only two going through by right. It could be three Swedes. They've certainly got the quality. Sundling, the defending champion. Emma Ribom for Sweden, who's fifth in the sprint standings this year. Mike Dahlqvist coming back from absence, but looking very, very solid with 2 wins already. So down they go. This is the long left-hand horseshoe turn that leads into the last climb. She's looking a little bit unsteady. She's a tall figure, Mike, and these conditions don't really suit the long, gangly athlete.
No, and the legs are so tired from the previous climb that the descending and the cornering there is difficult. The pace is going to pick up now, of course it is.
Yeah, I think this is when we're going to get our first indication of whether it's going to be a Swedish or a Norwegian victory here today. In terms of the double polling, I think I give the Swedes a good chance, but Skistad has shown herself time and time again over the opening stages that she is strong enough, and she's just holding her own at the moment. It's all about going into the top 2. Who's going to miss out on this occasion? Could, of course, be a lucky loser, but Skistad with, she put the leg out and then retracted it slightly, which may have given Jonas Sundling a chance to go through. A 3:21.5. That was quick.
That was incredibly quick, and Skistad makes it look easy all the time. And I thought Sundling was really lacking there. The power and the focus that she has for this event, she was found wanting there at the very end in the last 5 meters.
Yeah, that was 2 seconds quicker, Mike, than any of the heats earlier on. So I'm pretty sure Sundling's going to get a lucky loser. But have a look at the finish. Skistad thrusts the leg out, and then just before the line, back it comes. Whoa. Gives Sundling a chance. My goodness, I think she just got it. But a lesson to be learnt there. Do not make the lunge too early.
Incredible. I don't think she saw Sundling coming. She was only eyes on Ribom, and she thought she was safely in second. And Sundling really tried to pick up the pace, but it wasn't there. Now that is a warning for the final.
Yeah, Stefan Thompson, the Swedish coach, will be having kittens watching that. My goodness, he now has to wait and see what happens on the second of the semi-finals. Here's Federica Pellegrino,
and then when
who's
you
out.
have this long stretch with double pulling towards the finishing line, that is
Yes,
tough stretch. Yeah.
Yes, but when I am racing, I think to be the best. Always, it's the only way to believe that you can be one of the best. And then after the race, for sure, you have to accept your limits and find a way to train more hard to beat your limits. And so, see you next time.
Okay, see you next time.
Well, there's a motivational talk in 25 seconds. That is all you need to know. You don't need to sit through an hour and a half of nonsense. Absolutely brilliant from Federico Pellegrino. Love the man. And he's absolutely right. If you believe you can, you can.
Yes, he didn't blame anything, didn't blame the conditions, the skis, nothing. He just took it on the nose.
Yeah, I think the Scandinavians could do with listening to that. Some of them have been grumbling a little bit about the conditions, and Halvorsen, look what happened. It's interesting times, difficult race conditions, absolutely, we all accept that. But Pellegrino just says, I'll go home, have a look at it, and I won't find an excuse, but I'll find a way of getting better. So, second semi for the winners. Svan, Hagström, Gimler. We've got Tilridne Sveng, Julia Kern of USA alongside Rosie Brennan. Are we going to get an American qualifier? Looking for a slot in the last 6, and anyone in that last 6 has a shot at the medals. Sweden have 1 qualifier guaranteed. They have 2 in the lucky loser pool at the moment. Mike, I think they've got to be pretty sharp up that first climb. A time of around 1:22 would be good at the top of the initial long climb, and then under the bridges in around 1:45. I think then they'll have a chance, because there's no doubt the last 400 metres of that first semi-final were lightning quick.
They certainly were, and I like the way this time the Swedes have got the way they wanted. They're out front already. I think the two Americans, we've got Rosie Brennan and Julia Kern, I think they all want to get in the mix.
My goodness, that was close for Hagström. That was so close. She still hasn't recovered. I think she just needs to calm down for the next 30 seconds at the back. Accept her position. Don't fight too hard in this sort of situation. And luckily for her, out front, Lynn Spahn is cruising. And I wonder whether Spahn has been told, take it easy, because then Sundling and Dahlqvist are going through to the final as well.
Possibly. Lynn Spahn, though, she's very much her own person, isn't she? Last time she opted for in the middle of the pack, but you know what, the way that this pace is so slow, I think safely, of course, from the first of the semis, Sundling and Dahlqvist should go through.
Yeah. Just interesting, Mike, that the salt, which is often laid down with a machine, has been put out by hand. And when you do that, you have a certain inconsistency. And occasionally you have these little spots where the salt hasn't been, and you get a hole. And I'm just wondering that's what's going on. I'm actually more convinced that it's the ice under the soft snow that has caught out most of the athletes.
I think it is. I mean, it's really tough conditions. You can see every time the poles plant down, the snow splashes out. And I love the way Rosie Brennan saw an opportunity. She thought, get me to the top of this hill in first place and I have a better chance. But
it's not particularly quick, though. It's not particularly quick. I think Sundling and Dahlqvist can relax with their times of 3:21 and 3:22. Brennan leading. Spahn is there on the far side, and then Tilde of Norway starts to make her bid in the middle of the group of three leading the way, starting to pull away from everyone else. Spahn certainly the favourite in this heat, but Tilde with the best line coming around that top corner. And the corners are tight here, Mike.
They are, and you're right, you're most exhausted as you skate or step turn around that top corner. I thought that was a fabulous move from Tilde. She's looked in control throughout this, and look how spread out the pack is. Well, it's not a pack anymore, it's a line.
Yeah, so Beng leads. We've got Spahn in second place. Rosie Brennan of USA in third at the moment. They are 4 seconds outside the lucky loser slots. They won't turn that round. They haven't got time. Little burst coming in from Tilde, but a couple of slips with that right foot allows Lynn Spahn to close the gap. Brennan starting to mount another charge, but just as she gets into the slipstream of Spahn, Spahn steps to her left, accelerates down into the finish, and with 60-70 metres to go, it's Norway ahead of Sweden. Sweden are going to have a full quota of 5 athletes through. Are we talking 5? We can't be talking 5, surely.
I think we are.
They will have 5.
Yeah.
No, Hagström is going out. Four Swedes through to the final.
Incredible.
That would be ludicrous. But they do have 4 Swedes. The 2 lucky losers are going to be Sundling and Dahlqvist. Lynn Spahn will join them. Tilde Nisbeng, nice to see her get through to the last 6, Mike. She's had so many podium finishes before she went off sick. It looks as though, if not at her very best, she's not far off it.
She certainly is, and I think Lynn Spahn there is the big winner in all of this, because this second semi-final was some 5 seconds slower, and Spahn throughout just looked so complete, so composed, and just had to pick the pace up at the end.
Yeah, and if you look at the countries that have got finalists in the women's sprint, it's a very, very small percentage of the Earth's surface. You can limit it to Scandinavia. 4 Swedes, 2 Norwegians. No one else has made it into the last 6. Oh, Laura Gimler has just been... Laura Gimler at the bottom of that second semi, 7:58 behind, slightly surprised. I thought she might just get in there, but actually with Lynn Spahn leading, Mike, the pace in that second semi was always slow, and will that have been a tactical move from the Swedes?
Possibly would have, to try and get Hagström through as well, but unfortunately she's 197 off.
Yeah, but for the Swedes, success is a 1-2-3.
Yeah, and they've got a very strong chance.
Yeah, they've got a very strong chance with 4 finalists, but they still do have Skistad to cope with. Now, the first of the men's semis. This, will it be quick? Klebo probably hoping not. Kalle Halvarsson just wants it to be over. After all the criticism of the course, he's done pretty well to get to this stage. Maybe being negative is his way of producing his best result. We'll see. Erik Valnes, fastest qualifier this morning, hence he wears bib number 1. And then on his outside, he would have expected to see Richard Jouve. Instead, he's got Lucas Chanava. The first of the men's semi-finals, just moments away from starting. Valnes, Halvarsson, Chanava, Klebo, the champion, Northug and Ahonen. So 3 Norwegians, Halvarsson of Sweden, we've got Chanava of France, and Vil Ahonen in the Finnish colours on the near side, wearing 25, bib numbers indicating the position they finished in qualifying early on today. What, Mike, is Klebo going to do?
Do you know, he tried, he put a firm pace on there, so now he'll go for plan B. He was, I think, wanting to try and get up front, but he finds himself in 4th place now. He'll probably go for the more economical journey on this one. But he has to be careful that nobody trips him, falls in front of him, so he'll play a safe game, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of times he's been beaten over the last 3 years. We've had a couple where he's been caught sleeping on the finish line. One in particular, painful, by Bolchinov up in Ruka. We've had a couple, and particularly Les Rousses, where he left it too late coming into the finish. There just wasn't time to catch the leader Richard Jouve. And we've had one, I think it was a classic in Lillehammer, where he got slightly choked up, broken pole, and taken out by other athletes. That's something that he'll desperately want to avoid.
It's rare that he makes mistakes. It's rare that he puts himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Technique violation already, Chanava. That's interesting. Skating too far out of that bend. So I think now Klebo is where he wants to be. He's got space. He can read the track well, but he's got his big rival Valnes to his left.
Yeah, only the world number 1's allowed to wear pink shades, and that's him on the left of the screen. Valnes, the fastest qualifier. Valnes goes down. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? The best of the qualifiers, and he trips over the ski tip. Now he knows exactly how Taupol feels, and that gives one of the other nations a chance. It's Chanava in 2nd place at the moment, and Valnes out. Evan Northug did well to avoid him, but Northug, Mike, has got some 12-13 metres to make up.
He needs to punch hard now, but this may well give Northug a bit of hope, but I think he's mostly spent. He's really struggling.
Yeah,
and
the balance is gone.
Yeah,
the balance is gone. The fight is gone.
Yes, it was from the heat. He put too much effort into that heat, and it trips you up later. It's not over yet. Still anything can happen in this race.
Klebo again on the inside of the turn, coming into the finish. Have you ever seen him not gain time on the corners and the downhills? 4-5 metres gain, and it just makes life that much easier if you can gain your time, gain your distance for nothing. And Klebo just going ahead of Chanava. I think it's all about confidence here. Just show the others who is boss into the last 70 metres, and it's Klebo who leads. There's a good battle for the 2nd place going on. Kalle Halvarsson for Sweden.
Yes.
After all he said today, he is going through to the last 6.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Chanava has to hope that his time of 2:59.6 is going to be quick enough. 1:16 they were at the top of the first climb, Mike, so that would be a good indication of the pace set in the 2nd semi. But there's the man who we were expecting to see challenge for the medals in the final, who essentially trips himself up. Hopefully we will now get a slow-mo to see exactly what happened.
So he has to wait 2 years, over 2,000 hours of training for this mistake.
Here we go. This is it.
Place.
Was there interruption from behind?
Nope. He crossed the front, he crossed the tail of his right over the tip of his left. His own fault. That's incredible.
How painful is that? Oops. Yeah, he's just broken the javelin world record. And there's nothing you want. You do not want someone handing you a new ski.
What a shame. What a real shame.
Painful day. So Norway have already lost Valnes. They've lost Taugbol. No chance of Norway dominating like the Swedish women have done. 4 of the Swedish women have made it through to the final. But Norway's consolation, the world number 1, the best sprinter we have ever seen, is safely through to the semi-finals, and he's been joined by Kari Halvarsson of Sweden, and Lukas Shanova has to wait and see whether a 2:59.6 is quick enough for a lucky loser spot. Northug in the end, Mike, at 3:01.
I'm wondering if Northug has a chance of getting through as a lucky loser. It purely depends what happens in the second semi, but I really feel for Erik Valnes now. He was in the best position of his life, fastest track time in qualifying, and he was at the front, and he made the mistake himself.
Well, what a day. We've seen more fallers in this sprint competition already, and we've still got a few rounds to go, than we've seen in the whole of the season put together. That shows you how tough the conditions are. I think the only thing you can say, Mike, is it's the same for everyone. You just have to be a better skier.
You have, and it's a great day for the Americans. Shoemaker in the semi-final. And now opportunity, Paul Goldberg. He really needs to focus in on himself, and he'll probably try and lead this out and lead it to the line.
Yeah, Goldberg, the quickest qualifier. There's Jules Chapaz, 2 Frenchmen in this heat with Renauget as well. Shanova has to wait and see. If he does get knocked out, it would be likely to be by one of his teammates. But I thought Shanova put in a pretty good performance on that first round. Number 4, that's Michael Novak, really promising in qualification. He's done a lot of practice on this track, and it showed earlier on today. So Chapaz of France, Renauget of France wearing 20, Goldberg wearing 3 for Norway, number 2 in the World Cup standings. Novak of the Czech Republic is 4th, Shoemaker of USA is 15, Marcus Grata in the Swedish suit, the white suit, over on the far side, wearing 24. Is anyone going to go down in this heat? It's highly likely.
Unfortunately, it is highly likely, and I think that very sensible. The second fastest track time, Novak is leading out. Where's Goldberg? Down in 5th, that's a surprise.
Yeah, but that's exactly what he did in the first round as well, except he was back in 6th going through this stage on the first round. Just trying to cruise. There's a long climb coming up where you can make time slowly, Mike. You don't have to go flat out. And the danger of skiing at 100% is just like running, just like any sport, you build the lactic.
You do, and you can see at the back, Schumacher and also Paul Goldberg. It's a much easier journey, even though you're only 8 meters behind. It's much less stressful.
Yeah, those tracks very close together, and Marcus Grata having no hesitation to give Renauget a little push on the shoulder, saying, "Move over, give me space." And I think that's fair enough as we see Michael Novak lead the way up the big climb. They're looking for 1:16 at the Pine Cones. It's 1:16 exactly. They are on an identical time split to the semi-final number 1.
Interesting, and you just feel this is it's a very edgy semi-final. You just feel the pace is going to pick up and pick up more.
Yeah, Grata already dropping off the pace. I think that's largely due to the pace being set by Novak up the front. Jules Chapaz living with him at the moment. Paul Goldberg is going to be on the inside of this difficult turn here.
I think Goldberg has more to give. He looks composed. He hasn't actually gone to that tense place yet.
Yeah, and he's moving nicely. The balance is good. We've got another fall. Was that Schumacher, I think it was, who's gone down?
Yep.
And the Czech Republic leading France at the moment. Norway in 3rd place. In terms of the finalists, we have 1 Norwegian and 1 Swede guaranteed to go through.
Oh, Novak is setting an incredible pace, and I really hope he crosses the line in the top 2 to guarantee, but I hope he has energy for the final.
Yeah, Goldberg still looking good in third. Michael Novak, I think, buoyed by the confidence given to him with an excellent run this morning, and it's a big, bold drive for home from the French, and looking very confident at the moment. Jules Chapaz leading the way. Goldberg still not going into overdrive. He's making this look easy. It's all about saving energy for the final. They get less rest than those who went in semi-final number one, and Goldberg just keeping an eye on Novak, who's starting to push the pace. This could be tight. He's playing a dangerous game, but he gets away with it. Again, the Norwegians cut it to 0.1 of a second. Good effort from Chapaz.
Wow. I think clearly, even though Novak dropped back, I think he was on his limit. I think he will qualify through as a lucky loser.
So our finalists confirmed. Klebo, ranked number 2, is there. Chapaz wearing 7. Goldberg makes it from that second semi-final. Halvarsen is through for Sweden. Michael Novak has gone, and Lucas Chanava. So we've got 2 Frenchmen, 2 Norwegians. The Czech Republic represented in that final as well. And Kalle Halvarsen of Sweden is through. Perhaps, Mike, not the lineup we were expecting. We certainly would have expected to see 3 Norwegians in the last 6. Remember, at the last World Championships, they took positions 1, 2 and 3.
Yes, it's been a very interesting, the whole day has been interesting. I do feel for Valnes. He made a mistake. He should have made it to the final were it not for that mistake, but you have to organise yourself and your skis. So yes, 2 Norwegians, very surprising, but throughout the day Klæbo has done nothing wrong. Right place at the right time, controls the skis, still looking good.
Can he make it 3 world titles in succession? So there we have confirmation of the positions. Novak and Chanava are the 2 lucky losers. Northug, Aachen and Valnes are out. And you may have picked up that only 1 lucky loser going through from each of the semi-finals. I think that's a good change, don't you, Mike?
Yes, it is. But look at the flags here: 4 Swedes, 2 Norwegians. It's quite amazing. So, well, guaranteed 1 medal at least for Sweden.
Yeah, they took 1st and 4th last time round in Oberstdorf 2 years ago. Jonas Sundling was the winner of the world title, and Jonas Sundling wears the World Championships bib. There she is. Can she defend the title? Hasn't looked quite as convincing here as she did in Oberstdorf, but she's got as strong a mind as anyone there. Tiril Udnesveng for Norway into the last 6 after a difficult last 6 weeks, ever since the end of the Tour de Ski at the back end of the first week of January. She's been struggling with health and fitness and training, but Tiril Udnesveng, she's got that steely look in her eyes again, Mike, and I think she's grown in confidence throughout the day.
I think she's looked great throughout the day. Her technique's all there. When she wants to press the turbos on, they seem to react, so hopefully she still has that strength, but she did qualify through in the second heat, so less recovery time.
So let's look at the athletes in the final. Maja Dahlqvist, sensational athlete, 5 wins in her career, 23 podiums. She's number 1 in the rankings for sprint this year, but no wins to her name. Tiril Udnesveng, limited in terms of wins, but my goodness, has she been convincing this year. The early part of the season, prior to and during the Tour de Ski, she was so consistent in making the podium. Here is the little bit of spice that livens up the race. Schiestad, who first came to our attention 4 years ago in Seefeld. She finally won her first World Cup in Les Rousses, a classic style, dominating from start to finish. But the Swede Swede seem to have regained some strength since then. Emma Ribom looked fantastic in the first semi-final, produced a time of 3:21.52. Number 7, Lynn Svan, who looked incredible in the first round and certainly made me think she could be the person walking away with a gold medal at the end of the day. And then, of course, you have the world champion, you have the Olympic champion, Jona Sundling. It is a quality field. I think Tiril Udnesveng is going to do well to get a top 4, let alone a medal. We're underway. Skistad likely to take the lead. That was the Swedish camp's orders. Let her go. Feed off her trail. Get in the slipstream of the tallest, biggest athlete in the field, and then just surprise her when it comes to the closing stages. You do not want to be hunted by 4 Swedes, do you?
No, you don't. And I thought that Skistad may have changed their strategy this time, but clearly the Swedish camp were not going to punch out off the start line fast. They wanted a Norwegian suit ahead of them. And yeah, this is going to be so interesting. I don't think it's going to be that fast. Eventually it'll slow down.
Yeah, I think it's very, very steady at the moment. Skistad is certainly not going 100%. Tiril Udnesveng fighting to get position. On the outside of the turn, you can always lose ground. Tricky downhills, they're being very tentative, Mike. I think all these fallers have made some of the athletes nervous.
And quite rightly so. You have to be. There will be tension in this pack. Where's Lynn Svan? She's been my favourite from the start of the day, but she's at the back at the moment.
Yeah, Lynn Svan wearing 7. There she is at the back on the right-hand side. Skistad is easy to pick out. She's the tallest. She's leading the way at the moment. Sundling over on the far side. Tiril Udnesveng in the Norwegian suit with the white headband. And then we've got number 1 is Sundling, of course, and Dahlqvist wearing 5. Still the pace is steady, and 1:30, Mike, with 10 seconds down on the fastest heat so far.
Yes, it's surprisingly slow. Skistad, I think, has been trying to keep the pace firm, but it's not fast enough. The Swedes are getting restless.
No, I think Skistad's saving herself for the end. I think she's read the reports about the Norwegian team. It was made so public what they were going to do. I think Skistad maybe said, okay, I'll just wait. This is the tricky corner. Round to the right-hand side, and certainly number 7, Lynn Svan's in danger of getting into trouble here, and she does trip over herself, and she starts to obstruct her own teammate in Maja Dahlqvist.
That's interesting, and Svan is her own worst enemy sometimes when it comes to wanting her own line. She's determined. They're all determined. This is really interesting. I thought Skistad was finished at the races, and I think she is.
You're absolutely right. She's blown a gasket. Skistad has run out of puff. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's very disappointing. So Sweden are going to get a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it is that clear at the moment. Tiril Udnesveng can't live with it. Skistad working too hard early on. Maybe too much work done in the early rounds. And this is total domination by Sweden, who, to be honest, have been the top sprinting nation in the women's cross-country skiing for the last decade. But who is going to come out on top? We've got the defending champion, Jona Sundling, up there with Emma Ribom on her tail. Looks as though they're going to decide the gold and the silver, and Ribom looking strong into the finish, but Sundling starts to pull away. It's Sundling, the defending champion, with a lead of 4-5 metres at the moment. Still 60 metres to go. Can Ribom find anything? The answer is no. It's Jona Sundling. She's now the double world champion as well as the Olympic champion. She can do no wrong when it comes to the major titles. So Sundling takes gold, Ribom in second, Dahlqvist in third, and you have to feel a little bit for Lynn Svan. She looks so good early on, but nothing to give in the final. She gets 4. Skistad, who many were hoping could surprise the Swedes, just ran out of puff with 4. Well, in fact, after the first 800 metres, she was dead. And Skistad gets 5, and then 6th place to Tiril Udnesveng, who I think, Mike, will just be happy that she's made it through to the last 6.
Yes, and Tiril Udnesveng and Lynn Svan coming from that second semi-final, so much less recovery time. It really is a factor. But Sundling, what a star, what an absolute champion she is. She's proved that now consecutively. 3 major championships, 3 major wins.
Yeah. And she's is she 28?
28-year-old. It's
28, yeah.
She was
So
junior
she
world
missed-
champion as well many years ago. She showed her talent back then lost her way a little in the middle.
4 races this season. Remember, she missed the first 6 sprints of the season, so Sundling's done 4 races. She's finished in first place in 3 of them, and then she had one where she actually missed the final, finished in 7th place. I think a tactical error keeping her out of contention there, but such a strong performance by Sundling. Yeah, I was fooled. I thought Skistad may be playing it tactically, and I wonder again, Mike, whether that was the effect of the soft conditions. It just takes it out of you.
Do you know, it's like running in sand, up sand dunes. It's horrible, and that's what this effect. And I think I did think it at the time. Skistad leading at such a powerful pace consecutively, and her early track time was great. Fatigue is going to come through at some point, and it really jumped up and got her. Just imagine every living room in Sweden, the television on, when the 4 Swedes went to the front, there would have been some cheering.
Yeah, Stefan Thompson there, the Swedish coach. He's going to be in hot demand when it comes to coaching teams. But I think the Swedes will probably pay it enough to stay on. He had worked absolute wonders with these athletes, and perhaps many would be surprised to hear that when it comes to the distance races, Mike, they still have a chance of taking medals.
Oh, they really do have. What they've done today is exceptional. 4 in the final positions, 1, 2, 3 and 4. They haven't ever done that before, and I feel for Lynn Svan. She's been so disrupted by that shoulder injury. Yes, she came back after Christmas, but the base training hasn't quite been there. She isn't quite back into her racing, and Lynn Svan will feel a little disappointed to be the 4th Swede today.
Well, we know who's topping the medal table at the end of day 1 in the World Championships, and if there were points for 4, that would do Sweden no harm at all. A 1, 2, 3, 4 at the World Championships, and it's easier to do that in a World Cup where you're allowed to put 6 or 7 athletes in. Not in the World Championships. They had 5 because they had the defending champion, and 4 of those 5 getting through to the final. You have to feel a little bit sorry for Johanna Hegström, who missed out on the party.
Yes, you do, don't you? And it's hard on a day like today. It's so difficult to get your 4 best athletes into the final and in positions 1, 2, 3, 4. So many outside factors today. Waxed, soft snow, the correct racing line, pacing throughout the day. So many factors. It's an incredibly strong sprint team from Sweden.
Yeah, Svan looks delighted. Not Svan, Ribom looks divided, and Dahlqvist in 3rd place. So there you go. It's a 1, 2, 3 for Sweden. Sensational. My goodness, Sundling is strong.
She looked tired for me in the semi-final. She didn't have that punch at the finish, and I love the way she played a different game this time. She didn't want to leave it to the double pulling. She broke them on the track.
Emma Ribom chuffed to bits with her performance, 5th in the standings, and that is 5 podiums she's got now this season. She's had 2 wins, 2 seconds, a 3rd, and her worst result in the sprints this year, 4th place. She did miss the Tour de Ski, which makes a big difference in terms of your fatigue coming off the middle of January, but Ribom certainly short and sharp there from Jonas Sundling, and she bases herself in Östersund, which is really the main training centre for their cross-country skiers and their biathletes, and I think in the bars in Östersund they'll be absolutely delighted with what they've just seen. Well, we can make one more prediction, Mike. We will not see a clean sweep in the men's final. At least I can get that one right.
It's going to be interesting. There's going to be fatigue without a doubt, as we saw in the women's final. 1 or 2 of those athletes, and I think it will probably be Michael Novak who won't have the fight. I hope he does, but I don't think he will. I hope Kalle Halfarsson can really, this negativity from the start of the day, maybe that's the way he brings himself up for the races, but he's still there for a chance.
So the Frenchmen, I think, will be somewhat surprised that it's Chapaz and Chaneva who've made it through to the last 6. Chaneva's a dangerous man. If he's in contention coming down the last 150 metres, he's one of very, very few men who has out-double poled Johannes Husford-Klebo in his career. But he's not done it for over 2 years. So the finale, the last run of the day, 1,400 metres separating 6 men from the medals. Klebo, the favourite, pink gloves, pink glasses. Will he be in the pink when he finishes? We will wait and see. I think the conditions are perhaps the only thing that can beat him, Mike.
I think so, and you know, the scenario where an athlete close to him could fall into him, could interfere, but incredibly from what this is his 121st World Cup start, he's had so few errors on that journey, and of course he's won 62 of them. He puts himself in the right place at the right time, and I wonder if he'll try and lead from the front. I doubt it. But he then increases the danger. Paul Goldberg as well will be trying to win this one. He's got the capacity, I think, to do so.
Goldberg looking strong earlier on, qualified in 3rd position. The fastest qualifier has gone, Valnes, who says that was the biggest waste of my whole life. It was my best chance ever in my career to get a gold medal. Of course, he took a tumble in that semi-final. Klebo has stayed out of the way and out of trouble so far. He does look just a little bit nervous. That's not often we see that, but I'm expecting fireworks early on, Mike. He will want to be out front, dictating the pace and staying away from anyone else's ski tips. Kalle Halvarsson, bonus. That's the first time he's smiled so far today. Wouldn't it be great if he got on the podium? And of course, with 3 Swedish medals already, Jules Chapaz, has he got a chance?
I think he has. He's looked so powerful in the last 300 metres of each of his run-outs already. He's got a chance.
And Goldberg, 4th in the sprint standings. He has not won the sprint so far this season. Today would be a good day to do it. Only a couple of podium places. And Michael Novak, the surprise entrance in the top 6. But do not be fooled. He was quick in qualifying, 4th place, as his bib indicates. And he looked really, really solid all the way through the rounds. Has he got anything left to challenge the defending champion? The women's defending champion has reclaimed the gold. Is it going to be the same in the men's? Keep a careful eye on Klebo, 2nd from right with the white hat. And he, I expect, will want to lead. And out he goes with his rapid fire double poling action, followed closely behind by Lucas Chaneva of France.
It's interesting, and for the first time I agree that on the line Klebo was looking as nervous as we've ever seen him, and that's because he can't control all the factors today, and so the only thing he can control is dictating the pace. Is it sensible? Yes, it is.
Chaneva having to work hard to stay behind him. Chapaz is there in 2nd place at the moment. Novak for the Czech Republic in 3rd. Goldberg doing as he's done in the first round, the semi-finals, now in the final, sitting at the back of the pack, waiting for his moment. He won't let the leaders get too far clear, but he's trying to conserve as much as he can for the closing stages. What sort of pace are we going to see? A 1:16 going through the pine needles at the top of this climb.
I love the way that Klebo went way wide. He went onto a former part of the track. It wasn't the best race line, but he's just reading everything. And he's inviting someone to come through, and he's making sure he's got all the space he needs should anyone fall. He's so clever. He's just watching everything.
3 seconds slower than the semi-final number 1, so they are skiing within themselves, unless of course the accumulated fatigue is starting to catch up with them, and this could be a gun to finish, gun to take win for Klebo. I think when anyone makes a challenge, he'll just up the speed. He definitely wants to be leading round this next right-hand corner. He is there. Novak's the man in a difficult position, just having to deal with the poles and the baskets of Chapaz, who's still sitting in 2nd place. Is it going to be a medal for him? Keep an eye on Goldberg on the far side. He's moved from 4th up into 3rd, and now coming up alongside the Frenchman, but he too is on the outside. Long way to go. And the medals at the moment: Klebo in gold, we got Chapaz in silver, we got Goldberg in the bronze medal. And the gap between 1 and 2 is just growing and growing and growing, indicating the chasm in the terms of different quality between Klæbo and the rest of the world.
He is amazing. It's not easy. You can see by his expressions on that descent. He's hurting. They're all hurting, but what a clever race. They have no chance now. They will not pull that man back.
Klæbo, who won in Seefeld 4 years ago. He won again in Oberstdorf 2 years ago. He won again in Beijing at the Olympics last year, and he wraps it up, one of the easiest victories of the season. He can celebrate for the last 50 metres. He's done the work early on. Absolutely the right tactics from Klæbo. Stay away from everyone else, and total domination. Chapaz and Goldberg for a photo finish. From this angle, impossible to predict who's won that one. And Michael Novak of the Czech Republic will be delighted to have made the last 6, but bitterly disappointed not to have got himself into the top 3. There is your champion. How easy was that?
It's hard to believe, and you look at his time, the fastest time of the day, 2:56.